Welcome to the Simpler Business Podcast, where we talk about ways to do what you love and serve your people in a way that brings you income and freedom. I'm your host, Marissa Roberts. Join me as I chat with my favorite entrepreneurs about how they simplify their biz so that you can simplify yours. You started your business because you love what you do, but no one told you you'd need to be a marketer as well as a business owner to actually make money. And that part kind of sucks. We all know that if we want our business to be a business and not a hobby, we need to make sales. We need to make an income. But if you're not naturally good at sales, this can be a real sticking point. It's hard to spend time on something when you don't enjoy it. And it's really easy to procrastinate on it when you'd rather be doing the stuff that you actually love. As a result, many websites have a very basic announcement style copy that fills the page but doesn't make any sales. Converting website visitors into paying customers is a must for every successful business. So where do we start? Unfortunately, simply whacking a buy now button up on your homepage isn't going to do the trick. You need good copy on your website to build a connection with your reader and to show them why buying from you is a great idea. You need to take them down a pathway that shows them what they're missing out on if they don't buy from you. And you need to do it in a way that makes them feel good about making that purchase. Luckily, you don't need to spend years honing your copywriting skills in order to write those high converting words. You just need Kris Jones. I'm so excited to have Kris on the show today. She's the founder of Red Door Designs and a story brand guide. Kris has over 20 years experience with clients like Nike under her belt, and she's extremely passionate about helping business owners and entrepreneurs create website copy that sells so they can multiply their revenue and focus on what they do best. Kris believes creating copy that sells should be quick and easy, and that your website can be strategically set up to convert new leads with ease. Her approach is based in authenticity, trust, connection, and storytelling methods that convert without being pushy, which makes me so happy because I really believe that sales should be a great experience for both you and your customer. So welcome, Kris. I'm so happy that you're here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Oh my gosh, I learned so much from my very first visit to your website. And it's funny because you have a really powerful training. It's short, it's simple, it gets right to the point, and it gave me so many light bulb moments. And then it's funny because I was watching your training and then I was on your website going, oh, you're right. There's a little bit of that there and a bit of that there. And oh, it does do this to me as the consumer. It was really quite a magical experience. So I can tell that you know exactly what you're talking about when it comes to using stories to sell, because I've seen it firsthand. It's very, very exciting once you kind of catch on to it, isn't it?
It's really, really exciting. I mean, the beautiful thing is we as humans are really wired for story. We've been telling stories since the beginning of time. So it's really no mystery that there's somewhat of a framework or a formula around how to tell a good story. But what's really cool is how to take that framework and apply it to your marketing storytelling for your own business, because there's a story there and there's a way to tell that story that will work for you and really be effective for your business and actually be fun and easy to share. So yes, it's ridiculously exciting. And as we chatted about a little bit before, once you understand the formula, it does change the way you watch movies, read books, visit websites, because you start to really understand those core fundamentals of storytelling.
Yeah, that's so true. So I think our listeners will know exactly why storytelling is important for movies and books and entertainment. But when it comes to branding, I know a lot of people kind of stop there and go, oh, I don't really have a story for my brand, or my product, a story doesn't really relate to it. But actually, that's not the case, right? So why do you think having a story is so important when it comes to a brand and marketing?
Well, I'll start by sharing that, we're all very busy, right? In this day and age, we've got text messages coming through. We've got 18 things on our to-do list. We're running our own businesses. And it's really hard to capture our attention. But when you go to a movie, you sit down and suddenly everything in your life disappears and you fully engage with that movie for a full hour and a half. Nothing has the power to do that but story. So the way that translates to marketing is that it captures people's attention, it gets them engaged with you, it gets them invested in the characters of the story. And here's the beautiful gift for the business owner around story. And this is going to surprise a lot of people. Your brand story isn't about you. So you're off the hook. You're totally off the hook. You don't have to do a bunch of writing about yourself. We're talking about a way of telling a story that is inviting your customers or your clients into a story with you, where they're the hero of the story and you are the guide in the story. So it's really a powerful way to create connection, authenticity, trust, and it's a beautiful way, if they're a right fit for you to show them what's possible for their life if they work with you. And also, if that's something they want, then to motivate them to click on that schedule a call button or whatever your main call to action is.
Yeah, that's such a good point. That was such a big light bulb then when you said, well, no, the story doesn't have to be about your brand. The story is about your potential customer. That's so true. And it really takes the pressure off because you don't have to worry about, oh, I'm being show offy or, oh, I'm, just kind of boosting myself up and making myself look like a guru. It's not about that. It's about the person that you're helping. That makes it so much easier.
Yeah. And the reason for that is because as humans, the reason we've survived over thousands and thousands of years is because we're constantly scanning our environments to figure out how we're going to survive and thrive. And so whether we're looking at websites or we're out in the forest, we're always trying to figure out, okay, is this going to help me survive? Is this going to help me thrive? How am I going to benefit from whatever I'm doing here? And the same thing is happening when someone's coming to your website. They're literally asking themselves, how am I going to be better for this? How is this going to benefit me? And so we've really just got to answer that question and make that really clear. And that's why we make it about them, because that's what they care about. And it's not like, the human race is super self-centered, but it's really just how we're wired to, thrive. And so we might as well just play on that brain chemistry.
Yeah, that's such a good point. So why do you think then that entrepreneurs struggle to write copy? Because I think a lot of us are clear about who our potential clients are or our most ideal clients, and we know how our product or service will help people. But turning that into words on a page, a lot of us have trouble with that. I love copywriting and I still struggle after 11 years in the business. Why do you think we have so much trouble getting those words on the page?
Well, number one, I just want to echo your sentiment that it's hard for everybody. It is truly, for most people, it feels impossible. Even if you're a good writer, even if you have multiple college degrees, like it doesn't matter. And that's, I think, what I want to say, like nearly 100% of the people that I work with come to me, and that's one of the first things out of their mouths. Like,
yeah,
I should be able to do this. I got straight A's in school. Why is this so hard? I've been trying to do this for 2 years now. And I finally, they come to me sometimes feeling defeated. And it's like, no. Like, this is hard for everybody because there's a few reasons, but the main one is that as business owners, especially if you're self-employed, you are the business, right? So it's a lot like being inside of a bottle and trying to read the label from the outside. You don't have that perspective that you need to really clearly communicate yourself, your own business, and to share your story. So that's why it's really important to collaborate with an expert on your copywriting, because that expert can come in. You've got all the nuggets of information in you. You've got it all there. It's just you need someone to kind of guide you and pull out the good stuff and help you from going down rabbit holes that aren't fruitful for you.
Yeah.
So it's hard for everybody. And the other challenge around that is that for most of us, if we've been in our industry for any amount of time, we're at the expert level, or we know a lot about what we're doing. We're good at what we do. And what happens then is you forget what it's like to not know what you know. So
Yeah.
often website copy can get overly complicated, or you talk over somebody's head unintentionally because you've what I call the curse of knowledge. You have the curse of knowledge, which just simply means you've forgotten what it's like to not know what you know. And one of the most important things in storytelling and an effective website is really meeting your clients where they are. And when you have the curse of knowledge, you kind of can't do that.
Yeah, you forget the start of the struggle or the start of the, yeah, you're right. And that's so true when you talk about it's like being in a bottle and trying to read the label from the inside. You're so close to it. But yeah, that's a
Yeah.
really good analogy. It's a really good way to think about it. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I feel much better now because A, I know it's not just me that sometimes struggles with copy. And B, now I'm like, oh, I get it. Because it's one thing to say I got 10 years experience in simplifying. It's another thing to say, oh, I remember what it was like 10 years ago when I was first starting to do it myself and trying to figure out how to do it. Because Marissa back then is very different to Marissa now. And I bet everybody's having the same issue.
That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you work with clients, you use a particular framework, don't you? Can you tell us more about that framework that you use and how it works?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So I am a certified story brand guide. And what that means is that I have been mentored by Donald Miller, who is a brilliant storyteller. And he wrote a book called Building a Story Brand. Every business owner should get this book. It is just like full of so much good information. So I got certified under his framework, which is simply called the Story Brand Framework.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to boil it down, it comes down to really two main characters in every story. So every story begins with a hero who has a problem. And if you think of any movie you've ever seen or any book, like there's a hero who has a problem. And then about 20 minutes into the movie, that hero meets a guide who knows how to solve that problem for them, but nobody can solve the problem for them. The guide has got to solve it, him or herself. And so, but the guide has a plan to help that hero reach the success that they're hoping to find, or that goal that they're hoping to achieve. And so the guide gives the hero a plan and shows them what's possible for them by showing them what success can look like. And it's really that simple. A hero who has a problem meets an experienced guide who gives them a plan, shows them how to overcome their problem, and guides them to success.
That's really cool. Oh, my brain is going to movies now. I'm like, oh, that happened in Spider-Man. That happened in Star Wars. That even
Right.
happened in Batman.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's literally 100% of the movies, or like some of the old school movies that I like to bring up are like Karate Kid and Mr. Miyagi,
Yeah.
or Katniss and the guy, what's his name from
Hey,
Cheers.
Mitch. Yeah, Woody
Right, right.
Harrelson's
Haymitch.
character.
And he's a brilliant guide because, as a guide, you don't have to be perfect. You're
Yeah.
human. You're still flawed. And Haymitch was very flawed. But he had been there, done that. He knew how to win the Hunger Games. And so he gave her a plan, and then she was able to reach her goals and find success.
Yeah. So, in terms of your website, then, are we writing like your consumer, your potential client is the hero and you're the guide or you're the mentor? Is that how it works?
So the most important thing that anybody can take out of today's conversation would be that as business owners, we are the guide. We are Mr. Miyagi. We are Yoda. We are Haymitch. And our clients are the hero. And so there is only room for one hero in every story. And one of the biggest mistakes that I witness online, and I want to say like 99% of the websites out there are doing this, companies and business owners are making themselves the hero of their own story. And they're doing this through a lot of I, me, and we language. But again, back to that fundamentals of story, there is only room for one hero in every story. And so what happens is when a business owner makes themselves the hero of the story, they've literally kicked their client out of a story. They've kicked them out instead of inviting them into a narrative with them. So we really want to show up as the guide, and I'm happy to kind of walk through a few ways to do that.
Oh, yeah, that would be very interesting.
Yeah. So the first thing to do, I mean, remember, we're talking about really keeping the copy on your website focused around your hero. So what we want to do is always start the communication around the problem that your hero or your client is facing. So I like to start my website out with 3 to 5 bullets of problems that they're struggling with. So when you talk to your clients, ask yourself, what are they telling me that they're struggling with in their words? What are the themes that keep coming up again and again and again? So, depends on what you do, but you'll be able to easily jot down 3 or 5, and they just need to be really spot on. That's probably the most important thing you can do, because when you really articulate your client's problems, so many things happen. You open up a story loop and our brains can't help but engage. We can't help but want to read on to make sure that this problem can be resolved.
Yes.
And they also, this is really powerful and it's kind of subconscious, they automatically think, if you can articulate my problem that well, you must be the best one to solve it. And so this idea of trust immediately occurs. And then this feeling of connection, because when somebody understands the nuances of the things that you're struggling with, you do feel understood, you feel seen, you feel heard.
Yeah.
So that's a really powerful way to kind of begin the narrative of your storytelling on your website.
Wow. So it's like as soon as people get there, they go, oh, this person gets where I'm coming from, and they've had it happen before as well, and they've come through the other end of it. I love that. So you've got relatability and experience together.
Absolutely. Like it does, it's not a twofer, it's like a five-fer. It does like 5 different things at one different time. And then the cool thing about after that section, so we don't want to spend too much time in like Debbie Downer phase. Like this is not about being Debbie Downer. It's about empathy and really helping your customer feel seen and heard. But then we follow that section by really painting a positive picture of what's possible for them. And notice we're not talking about the features of your service or anything about you. We're just showing them what are 3 big things that they're hoping to accomplish, that their life might look like if they engage with you. So remember, they're scanning your website. How am I going to benefit from this? So we want to make sure that's pretty early up on the page. And 3 benefits might be, make more money, lose weight, finally, break free of physical pain, or climb that mountain you've always wished to climb, take time off. I mean, for your clients, if they're trying to simplify their business, it's probably a lot about time.
Yes.
And giving them a lot more free time and letting them have the freedom to choose what they do with all their white space. So, so those are 2 really, really simple ways that you don't really realize this, but you are being the guide by just spoon feeding this information to the hero in a way that really matters to them.
Yeah, I love that. That makes it just seem so simple, which of course speaks to me completely. So With people with getting the copy done, then I know a lot of people are like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a try myself. But sometimes people are like, yeah, this is great. I know the basics, but it's still going to take me hours. When do you think it's important to bring in a professional copywriter like you or to DIY it yourself? Do you think there's a particular time that you know that it's better to bring someone in to help you with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I would hesitate to say that like there's a specific right time because everybody has their own path. And if you're new in business, I think there's such a benefit to just doing the work yourself for a year or so and understand what you do. But if you've been at this a few years and you're feeling really comfortable with your service and you're ready to just have a website that works for you, in my opinion, I think if you're going to put money anywhere, put it in your copy because number one, that's the hardest part. But number two, that's the thing that's going to convert people most effectively.
Yeah.
And then I would say the places to save money or, and this is coming from someone who's been in the industry a long time. And I started out as a designer. So I kind of, I believe design is very important. But what's really cool about this day and age is that it's become so easy to DIY your own website design, right? With Squarespace and Wix. And, the beautiful thing about Squarespace is it's kind of constrained. So it stays pretty no matter how much you mess it up, basically.
It forces you to make it look nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of people end up spending $5,000 or $10,000 on a website design that really, if they had put that money toward the copywriting or less money even toward the copywriting, saved a couple $1,000s and then design their own website with that clear copywriting plan. I mean, that to me would feel like the best kind of combination of people that want to, do things on a budget, but make the biggest impact with the things that they choose.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me too, because then you're investing in something that's actually designed to make you money. So you're making that investment back. It's not just going into a black hole. It's no, hang on a minute, this investment's going to set up my website so that it's easy for people to want to purchase from me later. So I don't have to worry about where am I going to find that money later. It's just going to come back to me anyway. So yeah, that makes sense.
Right. And the other thing that happens with my clients all the time is that we map out a very clean copy plan for your website, and then they'll implement it on their Squarespace or Wix site. And number one, it typically pays for itself within about a week.
Yep.
But the other really, really cool thing is that then you end up having this copywriting go-to Bible that you can for your brand. So anytime you're looking for ideas for copy for social media or for a podcast interview or your LinkedIn profile bio, you go back to your website because all that groundwork has been done. Yep. Your story has been crafted so carefully that you never have to reinvent the wheel. You truly don't. Like, that's the beauty. You talk about the gift of story is really the simplicity of once you've got it right, you don't have to reinvent the wheel with it. You can repurpose it again and again and again.
You can use it everywhere, and it's just going to help kind of cement your positioning and cement your experience and show people a consistent message everywhere that actually helps them. Yeah, that's such a good point.
Yeah. People need to actually read things about 8 times before they're able to commit it to memory. So it's just a big argument for cohesiveness, consistency, like drumming that same drum over and over and over again, and until people just have it in their head, like, oh, this is that woman, this is what she's about. And it just makes it easier for us. So we don't have to keep starting over from scratch.
Yeah. It's like you get known for the thing that you do. Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Kris, you have just made this so fun. And not a lot of people think copywriting is fun. I love words, but a lot of people are like, no, I'll do anything but copywriting. And you just made this, you've made it like a fun magical storytelling experience. So I just love that. And I think our listeners are going to love that too. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us today.
I love talking about story. I'm so passionate about it. So
you make it so easy. I've loved listening to you talk about it. It's like a big hurdle is suddenly easy to just overcome like that. So thank you. I know a lot of our listeners are probably going to want to find out more. So what's the best way for them to find you? Is your website the best way? Is there socials?
Yeah. My website is a great way to find me. It's reddoordesigns.com. That's red with 2 D's, Red Door Designs with an S at the end.com. And you can find out all about me there. I have an offer around creating your website copy with you. So it's really in your voice and you don't send it out to a copywriter to work in a silo because it really needs to be in your voice. So we do it together. That gives you that perspective and make sure it's done right. So I've got that at grow.reddoordesigns.com. And then I have a free workshop offer at Clarity with Kris with a K, Clarity with Kris with a K, .com.
Oh, good. All right. I'll make sure I put links in the show notes too, so people can find that really easily and go on over and have a look more at what you do. Well, everybody, I hope that you've enjoyed this episode as much as I have. And I really hope that that's got the wheels turning in your brain and you're thinking, okay, I can tackle copywriting now. I know a pathway to follow myself to get that done. We would love to hear your insights on writing your copy as well. So come on over to Instagram. You can find me at Marissa Roberts Official, and we will see you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Simpler Business Podcast. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to make it nice and easy for you, just the way we like it. If you're ready to simplify and scale your business, you can get started with my free audio class at marissaroberts.com. See you next time.